You think your child is behind, but you might be measuring the wrong thing. Your child is 3 and doesn't know all their ABCs. Your child is 4 and can't count numbers like other kids. And quietly, you start to worry. Is my child falling behind? But what if the real problem isn't your child? What if it's the way we're measuring them? We live in a world obsessed with early academics. Reading early, counting early, learning faster. But the brain, before age 5, doesn't work like that. It doesn't grow best through flashcards for babies. It doesn't develop deeply through learning apps. And it doesn't thrive when it's pushed to memorize. You open your phone. You see a child the same age reading simple words. Your chest tightens. That night, you take out flashcards. You try to teach your child while they just want toys play. They turn away. And something inside you starts to feel frustrated. Your child is not behind. You're just using the wrong scoreboard before age 5. What matters is not what your child knows, but how their brain is growing. The invisible pressure that's shaping how you parent. You're not pushing your child because you want to. You're pushing them because you're afraid. And that fear, it's quiet but constant, and it's coming from everywhere. Social media shows highlight reels of children who seem ahead. Schools push earlier learning, earlier milestones, earlier expectations. Programs promise genius toddlers with flashcards for babies and learning apps. Everything around you repeats the same message. Earlier is better. So you start comparing. You watch other kids. You question your choices. You wonder, am I doing enough? Am I already too late? It's a quiet evening. Your child is on the floor, lost in toys play building, imagining, laughing freely. In that moment, they are exactly where they need to be. But instead of feeling calm, something tightens inside you. You feel pressure. You think, this is time we should be learning. Before age 5 matters so much. So you interrupt their play to teach. But here's what most parents don't realize. The pressure isn't coming from your child. It's coming from the story we've been told. You don't need to do more. You need to do what actually matters. You're building the roof, but skipping the foundation. You're teaching ABCs, but the foundation isn't there yet. Let's slow down and look at this differently. Think of parenting like building a house. Letters and numbers? That's the roof. They look impressive. They're easy to show. But the strength of the house doesn't come from the roof. The foundation is what really matters. Play, language, emotional regulation, independence, secure attachment. These are the skills that quietly shape how a child learns, thinks, and responds to the world. Without that foundation, nothing else will truly hold. A child might learn to read early. And yes, it sounds impressive. It feels like they're ahead. But then they walk into a classroom and struggle with the basics. They can't sit still. They struggle to wait their turn. They melt down when things feel difficult or overwhelming. And this is where many parents feel confused. Because early academics can create short-term wins. You see quick results. You feel reassured. But without a strong foundation, those gains don't last. Over time, the gap shows not in what the child knows, but in how they handle learning itself. Don't teach your child to climb higher before they've learned how to stand steady. Play is not a break from learning. It is learning. What if I told you play is the most important learning your child can do? Not structured play, not forced activities, not something designed to look educational. Real toys play child-led, open-ended play builds the brain in ways worksheets and learning apps simply can't. This is how children naturally explore, experiment, and make sense of the world around them. Pretend play builds imagination and empathy, helping your child step into different roles and understand emotions. Physical play develops focus and control through gross motor skills, strengthening both the body and the brain. Messy play builds creativity and problem-solving, allowing children to test ideas without fear of being wrong. This is why Montessori parenting emphasizes exploration, not pressure. Because real learning happens when the child is engaged, not controlled. Your child is pretending to cook. You watch and think, they're just playing. But in that moment, your child is practicing language, organizing thoughts, understanding real life. And here's what most parents interrupt too early. They stop the play to teach, not realizing the learning is already happening. Play is not wasting time. Play is how the brain learns best. When you protect your child's play, you're protecting their development. When your child has a meltdown, their brain is overwhelmed. You think your child is being difficult, but their brain is actually overwhelmed. And this changes everything. Young children don't have full emotional regulation yet. Their brains are still developing the ability to handle big feelings. When emotions rise too high, the brain shifts into overload. In that moment, they can't listen. They can't reason. They can't behave. Not because they won't, but because they physically can't. You're at the store. Your child wants something. You say no. They cry. They scream. They drop to the floor. You feel eyes on you. Your heart races. You rush. You react. You say, "Stop it." But it only gets worse. Here's the part no one tells you. Your child doesn't need control in that moment. They need co-regulation. They need you to stay calm when they cannot. They need you to help their body feel safe again. When you slow down, get close, and respond with understanding, you are teaching their brain how to come back from overwhelm. Over time, this is how emotional regulation is built. When you respond with understanding, you're not spoiling your child. You're building your child's ability to understand themselves. Language doesn't grow through teaching, it grows through connection. You can teach your child to read letters and still have a child who struggles with language. Because real language doesn't come from drills. It doesn't grow from repetition or pressure. Language develops through interaction, through conversation, through back and forth exchange, through connection, not through testing, not through flashcards for babies. You ask, "What letter is this?" Silence. Your child looks away. There's no response, no engagement, just pressure in the air. But later, in a different moment, you say, "Let's cook together. Can you smell that?" And suddenly, your child turns toward you. They react, they smile, they respond in their own way. That difference matters more than you think. Because in that second moment, your child feels safe. They feel included. They feel part of something not evaluated. Language is not memorization. It's relationship. It grows when a child feels seen, heard, and connected. It builds when words are tied to real experiences, not forced answers. So instead of testing your child more, try talking with them more. Follow their attention, respond to their sounds. Talking with your child is more powerful than teaching your child. The skill that matters most is not obedience. A quiet child is not always a capable child. And a well-behaved child is not always ready for school. It may look like everything is going well on the surface. They sit still, they follow instructions, they don't make a fuss. But readiness for learning goes much deeper than that. What matters most is executive function. The ability to wait, focus, control impulses. These are the true predictors of success, not early reading, not memorized knowledge. One child reads early, but can't sit still for more than a few minutes. They get frustrated easily, give up quickly, and struggle when things don't go their way. Another child doesn't know letters yet, but can focus, cooperate, and adapt to new situations. They can follow instructions, try again after mistakes, and work through challenges. Guess which child thrives long-term? School doesn't reward early knowledge. It rewards the ability to learn again and again, even when it's hard. Executive function is what allows a child to listen, participate, and grow in a classroom environment. Teaching your child self-regulation, helping them manage emotions, wait their turn, and stay engaged, is one of the greatest gifts you can give. The hidden mistake. Doing everything for your child. What if helping your child is actually holding them back? It doesn't look like a big mistake. In fact, it often feels like love, care, and efficiency. But it happens in small moments, every day. When you dress them, feed them, clean up for them, you remove opportunities to learn independence. You take away the small challenges that help their brain grow. Your child struggles to put on shoes. They try, then stop, then try again. It takes time. It's messy. It's slow. You step in because you're in a hurry, because you want to help. And yes, it's faster. But something important is lost. In that moment, your child doesn't get to practice persistence. They don't get to feel the satisfaction of, I did it myself. They don't build confidence through effort. And this is where growth quietly disappears. Not in big decisions, but in everyday shortcuts. Learning comes from doing, not from watching. Children don't learn independence by being told what to do. They learn it by experiencing it again and again. So, the next time it feels easier to step in, pause just a little longer. Slow down, so your child can grow. When should you teach ABCs and numbers? You don't need to avoid teaching. You need to follow timing. And timing doesn't come from you. It comes from your child. When a child is curious, their brain is open, engaged, and ready to learn. But when they're forced, their brain naturally resists, shuts down, or pulls away. This is why the same lesson can feel completely different, depending on when and how it's introduced. Your child asks, "What letter is that?" That's your moment. That's when learning is natural, easy, and meaningful. But if you interrupt toys' play to teach, if you stop their focus just to fit in a lesson, that's pressure. And pressure slowly turns learning into something stressful instead of joyful. This one shift changes everything. Instead of leading all the time, pause and observe. Notice what your child is already interested in. Follow their attention, not your agenda. Because when learning starts from curiosity, it becomes deeper, faster, and more lasting. Follow the child. The best learning doesn't come from being taught. It comes from wanting to learn. And when your child wants to learn, everything becomes easier. The most important thing you can give your child is not knowledge. It's something deeper. A strong foundation, play, language, emotional regulation, independence, secure attachment. These shape everything. A child who feels safe, who plays, who is heard, walks into kindergarten confident. And this is what most parents miss. You don't need to prepare your child for school. You need to prepare your child for learning. You're not falling behind. Your child is not behind. When you let your child play, when you connect, when you slow down, you're not holding them back. You're helping them go further than you imagine.